Okay, so it is by my watch 5 after 5. We have a quorum present, so I'm calling the meeting to order for the Otter Creek CUD Executive Committee meeting. The first item on the agenda is approve the agenda. Number 3, approve the previous meeting minutes. I'm not sure if we had. Did we not have a meeting on in March? Or did we? I think we didn't have a quorum.
We did. We had a meeting. I seem to have minutes for it. I think.
Okay. I couldn't download them for some reason. Well, I'll look in a second. General updates, partner discussions, and if we needed executive session, update from Vantage Point if they have anything. OCCUD and BCBB updates. We talk a little bit about the grants, although I don't see Jackie, so I'm not sure whether we're going to have much in the way of financials or warrant to approve. Other business, and then set up our next meeting. Anybody have anything that we'd like to add the agenda before I call for a vote to approve it? Okay. Like to motion that we approve the agenda as written. Any discussion? Second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Mr. Monk, second.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion, comments? Okay. All those in favor of approving the agenda as written, please signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. The agenda is approved.
Sorry, for the minutes. I missed who made and seconded that motion.
I made the motion and Tim seconded it.
Okay, Tony and Tim, thank you.
Yep. So Jessica, did you just send me the meeting minutes?
I just dropped the link in the chat. I believe I sent them out to, I sent them out the day of the meeting. I should have.
Okay, just trying to see if I can
I
figure
don't send
out
them
how
to you anymore though, right, Tony? I send them to somebody else who puts them up.
Yeah, I think it's Chris who puts them up. So, and we probably should send them to Caleb as well.
The
So
meeting
I'm trying to.
posted.
Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can figure out how to share it though, because it came up in a different app. Sorry, I'm struggling because of the.
You can always share your desktop instead of one specific application with Zoom, I believe.
Yeah, but then we get the infinity zoom, I think. All right, let me stop sharing it and then I will reshare for the all right.
There you go.
Can you folks see it now?
Oh yeah, perfect.
Sorry. Okay, so this is the meeting minutes for the meeting that we had on the 8th. Give folks a chance to take a look at it, see if there's any comments or discussion before we motion to approve it. Okay. Anybody need more time, or are we good?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last meeting.
Thanks, Tim.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, any discussion?
No.
All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes as written, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The meeting minutes are approved. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing again and then go back to sharing my agenda. All right. General updates. The only update I have of a general sort is we're still making progress and sort of reworking the cost estimate and trying to align the money we have available with the project a little bit better. So we've been going back and forth with our partner to make sure that we aren't that we're hitting the most needy parts of maybe that's not the right word, but the most unserved or underserved parts of the CUD first, and trying to make sure that we use the full 9.97 million that we have to get as many people served as we can. So that's the only sort of general update. I got something under VCBB, and I also have something to let folks know about in the other business, but those are my only general updates about what's been going on. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, partner discussions. I think we've been meeting weekly, like I just said in the general update. The focus mostly has been around making sure that we don't leave any of the towns behind, and make sure that we touch as many folks as we can with the project as possible, while we still have the funding gap that we've talked about before, I think. So OCCUD updates, anything to share, Larry? Oh, sorry, I skipped Vantage Point. Any updates from you, Caleb?
I don't have anything, no.
Okay. The only thing maybe worth sharing, maybe, Caleb, is the survey we're working on.
Sure. Yeah, no, we are putting together a survey to send out to the around 400 or so addresses that are don't have access to 25.3, and just to have them do a so we're going to send a little postcard out to each of those addresses and have them run a speed check or two, and then report those, who their provider is, and then send it back to someone, and we can just have those as kind of proof of what they're actually receiving and not what's being reported. So we should have that figured out here soon. I'm not sure the exact timeline, but it should be pretty soon.
Yeah, so thanks, Caleb. This is in support of a couple things. One is the ACT and the VCBB, the focus has been on people who are unserved or underserved. And those 25.3, if you're listed as having 25.3, which is DSL type level of connectivity in the database, we don't get any funding to connect those houses. But the feedback that we've gotten from folks who sort of anecdotal feedback is that nobody actually gets 25.3, even though they're listed as having that availability. And so we've discussed that with VCBB in the past, and wanted to make sure that we had some data to support our case that says, hey, these folks really, they're listed as 25.3, but they're really not. And so we want some funding to help support those. So that's what this effort is trying to do. Get hard data from as many folks as we can, make it as painless as possible. Just have people fill in a postcard with a couple numbers and who their provider is, and then we can use that to help as evidence for when we go talk and make the application with BCBB. So any questions or comments?
I guess, do we have instructions, Tony, and Caleb on what they need to do to measure that?
Yep.
Yep.
We've got a little, so we'll send them an envelope, right? That'll have their address. It'll have like a page of things for them to do. And then it'll have a postcard for them to fill in and drop in the mail.
Are
And
these primarily Otelco customers, or
yeah, this is primarily folks in that kind of area is the
Sudbury,
lion's share of
Benson,
those.
and Hubbardton?
Yeah, they're the lion's share of the
Yeah.
400 that we have.
Yeah, we have the same situation in West Paulet with everybody who's on Comcast over there. They technically have DSL, but everybody who's run a speed test, it's been like 0.7 or something.
They have DSL with Comcast?
Yeah,
Really? Wow.
So
I think so. It's either
So ju-
Comcast or Consolidated over there.
It's probably consolidated. I don't think Comcast has any DSL.
So Jessica, if they are listed as 25.3, they should be getting a postcard,
Okay.
and it'll ask them to fill in their speed tests and send it back to us. And
Great.
I think we're also gonna have like a little raffle, like to win a $50 Visa card or something. So to
Yeah.
kind of incentivize people to send the information back. So, all right, it's going to cost money, obviously, a little bit, but it's not going to be, it's not going to be tens of thousands of dollars. It's going to, be I think it'll be money worth spent to help us justify the ask from BCBB.
Yeah.
Any updates, Larry, on VCUDA?
Yeah, I got a few. We met Tuesday, April 11th. This is kind of a VCBB and VCUDA update. Just starting with a previous meeting, they were talking about construction grants, and basically it's new to everyone, and it's like trying to build a plane as you're flying it. That's both with VCB, VCUDA. I think VCUDA's got more of a handle on everything than VCBB does, including CUDs. It's all new. Everybody's learning. But for the 7 of the CUDs, they pretty much had that same format for their construction grant going to the VCBB, that they were doing the build out from scratch and they were going to own it. So it was pretty much the same template or pattern when the construction grant came to VCBB. And then along comes Southern Vermont CUD, and they weren't quite ready for that one. And I know that went back and forth, and there was discussion back and forth with Southern Vermont and the VCB to get that right. And finally it got approved. And Southern Vermont they're going great guns down there. The regional planning down there is the project manager for them. I'm not sure if they complete their build out this year. At one time they said they were going to. Right now, they've just gotten all their right of ways over railroad tracks. So they're going pretty good down there. But there was kind of a bit of discussion on the VCBB part again with when in Otter Creek and Chittenden County come, there may be a different set of rules. So we want to be prepared as far as a lot of communication going back and forth between us and the VCBB that we get things right. And so the discussion came up with OCCUD that you can't change the rules. You've already admitted Southern Vermont CUD, and we're basically using the same blueprint or template that they're using. And so I don't know where that's going to go, but just to be a heads up, we're going to have to really make sure our T's are crossed and I's are dotted for that construction.
Yeah. So Larry,
Larry, what was the issue that they have with the Southern Vermont one over this build your own network?
They're not real fond, just my observation of, having a partner like Otter Creek, Southern Vermont, and what Chittenden County will be doing. It was new to them. I think they got caught off guard. They weren't prepared for it. So Tony probably knows more than I do, but I know it went back and forth when they first submitted it. It didn't go very smooth. It took a while to get everything answered. So it's
so I
just
think
new to them. They're trying to catch up with these different approaches coming as far as building out from scratch versus in our situation where so much built out was already done in Rutland and Bennington counties that it made sense to partner with an ISP.
Yeah, so Larry and Tim, I think I can have shed a little bit of light on this. So, must be a month or two ago, I had a meeting with VCBB, and I said, hey, we're going, we're pretty much done with our agreement discussions. We're at the point where we wanted to try to fill in or start filling in the application for the construction grant. We are following a very similar model to Southern Vermont. We understood that there were concerns that people on the board had with Southern Vermont's arrangement. And I said, I want to know what those are so that we have a chance to address those. And so we're not, we're not playing not playing a game. That may not be the right term
Yeah,
phrase.
so we
but
have a chance to adjust it to address your concerns or whatever.
Right. So that if there are concerns that they have that they want to see in the agreement, that we know about them beforehand.
Right.
And after that meeting,
Makes
I sent a request like via email to VCBB and said, hey, because the staff had said that it would be helpful if we made a formal request that they tell us what, be specific about what the issues are that they wanted to see. So that may be part of this, the origin story of part of this discussion, Larry, is that I don't want to have the same situation as Southern Vermont did, where it took 3 meetings for them to approve everything and have a big to do over the like that. I want to make sure that everything is done and dusted before we go to that we've addressed their concerns, right? Not that it's approved beforehand, but that we've addressed their concerns, and that we understand what they are, and we've made a conscious effort to if there are things that they're concerned about that we can't deal with, or that don't work, that we at least have that discussion beforehand. So that may be part of it.
That makes
Hopefully
sense.
that
To be
makes-
proactive, Tony. So yeah.
Yeah. So I just didn't want us to be in that same situation, because it was painful to watch.
Oh, really? But
Yeah.
Chittenden County is also going to
They're
follow
gonna do.
along.
They're gonna pretty much do almost exactly the same thing. I had a discussion with
So
them.
that's like 80% of the population of Vermont.
Yeah, I
between
know.
the 3. Jesus.
And it's sort of the western side of the state, just about. So anyway, peace, Tim. I think we're trying to do as best we can.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, you know, if the board has concerns that they're willing to share with us. I mean, what I said to the VCBB is I just don't want to be in this back and forth where you say you don't like it, but you don't tell me
What you
what
don't like.
it is that you don't like, right? If there are things you don't like, let's be upfront about those and let's try to address them.
I feel it's probably a bunch of progressive bullshit, but anyway, that's just me.
I don't know what it is. I think whatever. That's why I asked the
Yeah,
question,
whatever.
because I don't want to guess. All right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Chittenden County will be watching us. I mean, they're pretty well built out already, but they're doing the same thing, getting those last mile places. There was discussion on what they call a special purpose vehicle, which is it's regarding grants, and they said it was a perfect vehicle for the middle mile grant. Discussion on conflict of interest policy. OCCUD does not have one. But best practices says they should have one, so that's being worked on. May 5th is a deadline for comments on digital equity. And the legislative policy report, OCCUD can have access if they choose to do so. And then there was some discussion on Green Mountain Power and right-of-ways, and they're having difficulty for some of the, the fiber optic being run on towns without zoning. So that's something they're
Towns
working,
without what, Larry?
zoning.
Zoning, okay.
So the towns without zoning, Green Mountain Power pretty much needs permission from the landowners to cross their property. So that's a holdup.
Which towns do we have that don't have zoning? Do we know?
I don't
Don't
know.
know.
Rutland Town doesn't, but
Do we have, is Danby part of this? Danby doesn't have zoning. Wells doesn't have zoning.
Yeah, so there's a few towns.
Is Benson? I don't know if they do.
I only know for
Anyway.
the towns we abut.
Yeah, okay.
and also on the BEAD funding. Part of that BEAD funding is addressing middle class affordability. It's just not low income. So that's all part of that program. And then there was basically discussion on, CUDs can charge what the market will bear, because you're talking about Route 30 being built out, taking that line of Route 30, you can look at that as lost revenue to Otter Creek at the same time. Let's see, I think that's it.
Okay, thanks, Larry.
Yep.
BCBB updates, a couple things I wanted to chat about or let folks know about. There's a BCBB had essentially said to all of the CUDs that they wanted us to investigate and potentially apply for, was it the Northern Borders Regional Commission, which includes Vermont, New Hampshire, parts of New York, and Maine. Essentially, it's a federally created development district that administers things like grants and infrastructure and stuff like that. So it was an information session. We participated, and we think we can potentially get somewhere in the order of between $1 million and $3 million from those grants. The only difficulty with that is it requires a letter of intent, which is due April 21st, which is kind of a short fuse, but we've been working with our partner and Vantage Point, and I think we should be in a situation where we can we can develop the required information. It's essentially a discussion of what the project looks like, and you know, that what we would be asking for funding for, and it would go not quite all the way, but it would go quite a long way toward helping close our funding gap. So, barring any kind of objection from anybody, I intend to sign the or to submit the letter of intent that says that we're going to apply for that grant. The application for the grant would be due sometime in, was it June, Caleb, I think?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
With
that's right.
awards being fall-ish. Any questions, comments, concerns about that?
So what would the monies be used for then, Tony? Specifically, is there?
Yeah, so what we've been talking with our partner about is how do we carve out a portion of the project that we can use, that we can say is the areas that we're going to fund with this money. So it's right. So if
kind of
you,
what
if you
would
think
be
about
the most favorable type of things to say to get that money, I guess.
yeah, so one of the good things for us is that all of Rutland County is considered as distressed. And so it lowers the amount of matching funds that need to be provided for it. And so I think, you know, with what our partner is building in other places, we should be in good shape in terms of doing that. And like we said before, right, we have this funding gap between the money that the state has allocated to us, the 9.97 million, the size of the total project, which is on the order of 15. And, you know, if we were to get $1 million or even, you know, I guess out of the ballpark, great result would be $3 million. You know, we'd go quite a ways toward helping to close that funding gap. So, and then that would lower the amount of money that we would need to rely on from BEAD in order to finish things. All right. Any questions, comments on that?
One other comment, Tony, that
Yep.
in OCCUD, they're talking about all CUDs at some point will carry debt. They said there was no way to complete your build out without doing that. So, but I almost thought I heard at one time, maybe last year, where Southern Vermont CUD did not anticipate having a debt for the build out.
So you're talking about
Well,
going to the bond market,
yeah,
and
at
raising
some
debt.
point, this gap funding.
Yeah, that we're not planning to do that, Larry. I don't see.
Yeah, that's
that
what I
we're gonna
thought,
need
yeah.
to-
Yeah.
I don't see we're going to need to do that. That you know, it could have been a possibility, but I think following the model that we've been following and the down the road that we're going, I don't think we're going to need to do that.
Good.
Okay. Grant status, I don't really have an update on anything. I do know that when I talked to Jackie, we got some of the money. I think we got the first 25 or 20% of the money for the pre-construction grant. So that was something that we were waiting on. So we got some money in the bank. I don't have the financials or the warrant because I haven't gotten anything from Jackie yet. So I'm not sure if anybody has any questions or comments or about any of that stuff, but I do have something for any other business if folks are done.
I'm ready to move on.
All right. So any other business concerns me personally. I got a job. And unfortunately, it's not here in Vermont. And so I am going to need to pass on the reins of the chairmanship of this fine endeavor to someone, and pretty shortly. You know, I can do some stuff, you know, as I sort of sunset into things, but we're going to need to find a chairman, and I think the annual organizational meeting is in May, right? So I think that would probably be an appropriate time to make sure that we have somebody identified to take it and run with it. And I think it's a reasonable time to do that, because, like I said, the negotiations are essentially done. The agreement is basically done. The rest of it's really execution of what the plans that we put in place. So anyway, I'm not sure if folks have questions or anything to say, but this will probably be, maybe it's not my last executive committee meeting as chairman, but it probably be my second to last, I think. So. And I wasn't planning to move. I was looking for a job here in Vermont, and when I started looking, I got I got a call from a recruiter, and I almost didn't tell them to put my name in for it, but they did, and it's probably too good of an opportunity for me to pass up, unfortunately. So.
Well, congratulations, Tony,
Congratulations.
and yeah, thanks for your service. I mean, you've taken us a long ways here in this process, so.
Thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
congrats, Tony. Where are you moving to?
This is the problem. It's Southwest Louisiana.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, big change.
So
Ooh.
yeah, so I
Couldn't have
think
got much different.
we might be keeping the house, but I'm not 100% sure. But so I'm going to move to Southwest Louisiana, and we're not exactly sure what's going to happen with the family. Assuming that the job works out, I'll be in Southwest Louisiana for about a year or two, and then the plan would be to move to Houston. So we've been talking
Oil
about
and gas stuff.
Yeah, so it's a liquefied natural gas export terminal.
Okay.
And so I would be running the power station that powers it. and then the idea, assuming I do a good job of that, there's the company is building or is in the process of building 3 more plants. And
This
so
is
the idea would be
LNG.
correct, LNG
Yeah.
export.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Yeah, it's an interesting opportunity. I think, you know, especially with the stuff going on in Ukraine, there's definitely a need for it.
yeah, so. But that's it. That's all I got.
That was a big one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. I will do everything in my power to ease the transition. But I'm going to be on the road end of next week. So.
So, Tony,
Yes, sir.
how much time would you say that you spent on average per month?
10-15 hours, probably. Most months it's probably closer to 10, I
Yeah.
think. But like when we have big interactions with BCBB, or like when we were doing heavy lifting on the agreement with our partner, that was more. But I don't think I've ever spent more than probably 15 hours a month doing it. But I know it's not a, you know, it's a big commitment. And you know, being a retired slug that I currently am, you know, I was able to do it. But I don't know, the plant that I'm going to is got some issues, and that's part of why they're hiring me, because they want me to fix the issues. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have a lot of free time to do it, and I'm gonna be pretty far away. So,
No, understood. Makes sense.
all right.
All righty.
All right, so next meeting, let me just pull my calendar up here quick. Next meeting would be May 10th, right?
Yeah.
So. All right. Any, I guess if there's nothing else, then I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second
Larry,
it.
second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned at 5:40 on my watch.
Good night.
Good night.
Night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Stop.